Here's a clip. Former DOJ official makes bold prediction on Trump's big tech lawsuit. There's got to be some details in it. This one's 420, so yeah, maybe there's hope for it. Yeah.
Yes, all this is Robert Driscoll. He's a former DOJ official. Robert, good.
Jesus Christ. The Department of Jackaloons? He's a former KFC official.
Good to see you. Thanks so much for coming in. Does the president...
Hello. Hello. Yes, hello. I'm glad to be here. Like, this is scaring me. This is like the first interview with BTK after he was caught.
Have a case here.
In short, no.
In short, no. All right.
He may have an issue, but he doesn't have a case. The case is not long for this world and will get thrown out, I would imagine, fairly.
Yeah, that's some detail.
Early in the process. It's got a lot of the law just flat out backwards. And I think the purpose of his case is to flag the issue, get people riled up about the issue, and maybe change the law. But on the case itself, I think it's going nowhere.
What about the case of Section 230? I mean,
yeah, what about it?
If there's anything to pinpoint about what needs to be changed, it's an old rule that protects these huge mega-trillion-dollar companies.
Mega-trillion-dollar companies? What?
From billions of dollars in lawsuits.
And
they have betrayed the rule itself.
Well, I mean, Section 230 simply says that you can't sue the person who put something online. You have to sue the person who wrote it. So, I mean, I think anybody who has a comment section needs Section 230 for protection.
Yeah, like, I don't know, Fox's own YouTube page, for example. Right. Okay.
And frankly, startups need it as much as the big people do, because if you ever started your own website and somebody put a comment,
you mean like Gator?
Comment on it, you don't want to be held liable for that.
But Robert,
so
first of all, a lot of those small companies that have started up get eaten up just as quickly as they get started up by the big companies, and that's where the antitrust measures might come in to get the companies. But the idea...
No. There is no finite room on the internet, asshole. There isn't. There's no finite room on people's goddamn phones. If you created an app and people like it, they will broom the last app they had, and you can use it. This is not like we own all the trees, so we're the only people who can print newspapers. This is such nonsense.
The idea of 230 itself is that these companies, these social media platforms are just that. They're platforms that don't get involved in editorial content. Therefore, they are not liable to those who disagree with that editorial content. But we know from what has happened in the past year and a half that they get involved in editorial content all the time, just to name a couple of things.
Yeah, name it. Let's hear it. They get involved, guys. They get involved, guys, in editorial content all the time. So the editorial page of Twitter is lighting up right now.
Think of what happened with the Hunter Biden story. That was basically, as far as we know now, true based on that.
No, it was not. Wasn't basically true. It wasn't fundamentally true. It wasn't even remotely true. Bullshit.
Laptop, it was censored outright right before the election.
No. Within, 2 weeks of it, the New York Post trying to drop that story to carry it forward, they shied off that stuff. They were like, we're not going to let disinfo get dumped onto our platform leading up to the election. Talk about it the rest of the time. But 2 weeks before the election, you think this is fucking news?
Election might have had an effect on the election itself.
Why? Why in the world would Donald Trump need someone else's kid to be a fuck up so that he should be elected president again?
They censored information about the Wuhan lab in China that turned out to have a lot of substance to it.
What did they censor? Kung flu, you mean?
And of course, they have had actually taken Donald Trump off of their platforms entirely.
Yeah, well, that part, that's good. That's
entirely. Let's listen to Donald Trump talk about that. Roll tape.
Roll it.
There is no better evidence that big tech is out of control than the fact that they banned the sitting president of the United States earlier this year. If they can do it to me, they can do it to anyone.
Now the point.
Yeah, so that's the piece. If they can do it to me, they can do it to anyone. That's the Fox News
point is
clip.
not whether a private company can do that on its own platform, but whether or not that platform is neutral. These platforms are not.
You don't have to be neutral in your own fucking house. They don't have to be. They set the terms of service. They're their baseline standard. If you want, and if they're too draconian with their limitations, people will go somewhere else. That's the marketplace of ideas. What's neutral? This goes to the whole there's an argument about whether or not we should have a Holocaust museum. And the argument is, do we have a museum or should there be a monument that people can go see and then look up the information on their own? Is a monument better than a museum? And then you go, well, we need that's a neutral argument, right? It's those two people. Adding a person who doesn't think the Holocaust happened does not add to this conversation. And it is not the responsibility of anybody. Like right now, for the record, Fox News does not have on someone that doesn't believe the internet should exist as a counterpoint. So they are not neutral in this at all, just for the record.
Right, and you're saying neutral. The neutral is nowhere in Section 230. That's just wrong. It's a talking point that people have, but it's just incorrect. 230 does not require neutrality. It doesn't require it. You're not. Fox News doesn't have to be neutral. CNN doesn't have to be neutral. We can find places we want online that are neutral if we want, but there is no. Maybe we should have a neutrality requirement. Maybe we should bring back the fairness doctrine. These are all.
Yeah, you're not going to get anywhere on Fox with that.
Things people should consider. But the notion that this
Robert, you're saying that 230 does not. You're saying that 230. There's nothing in 230 about these platforms being nothing but platforms. That is, that they are neutral in the way that they present.
No, they do not have to take a neutral position on child porn. Dumb fuck. They don't have to take a neutral position on allowing people to coordinate an assassination plot using their DMs. They do not have to take a neutral position on January 6th strategizing sessions to overthrow the goddamn government.
The information. They're not responsible for that information. That's incorrect. What does 230 do then?
No requirement to be neutral.
Then tell us what 230 does.
All 230 does is protect internet companies and internet providers from being sued for comments they didn't write. So if in your comment section you defamed somebody defamed somebody else, they could sue the person who wrote the defamation, but they couldn't sue the person who hosted it, AOL or Facebook or whoever. That's all the 230 says, is it protects. Think any comment section, all the outrageous things you read in the comment section. If you didn't have 230. The person who hosted the comment section could be held responsible for it.
Robert, there are a lot of lawyers that would love to
230.
take you into court on your suggestion of what 230 is. And
bullshit. There are not a lot of lawyers who would like to take him into court for that. Well, I mean, there are a few because they are scamming money from their clients. But he's absolutely right. This is amazing.
what it does or does not do. But unfortunately, we don't have time to do that.
You don't have time to think.